Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Finnish Whitetail Tour 2021. This will be run over several episodes and should give you a good idea of how whitetail deer hunting is carried out in Finland. Whitetail deer were originally introduced into Finland in 1934 and have well and truly established themselves in the country. So much so that hunting them is very much about population control. Licenses or tags are owned by clubs, and it's not uncommon for a single club to hold over 200 licenses. A few things to note that might rub against the grain for some North Americans is that baiting is commonplace, and also hunters are encouraged to shoot yearlings, again just to help keep the population under control. So join me for this 3-part series where I shoot 3 animals in total, including my very first whitetail buck ever.
I came from the mud, there's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree, there's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon.
Hey, welcome to the Finnish Whitetail Tour 2021. Just got set up here in Helsinki and yeah, really great spot. Nice, typical Finnish forest. Some carrots as well, which is really typical for Finland, sorry. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully finally this trip, get myself a whitetail buck. Tomorrow we move to another location, the same one as last year. But yeah, so it's about 3 o'clock. The deer will come in about 5. And got my new saddle. It's great. It's also got a nice little shot through here. Yeah, should be good. Almost caught completely off guard. I'd only been set up 10 minutes when I spotted a yearling making its way through the forest. It's coming in fast, so I decide to draw early while it's still just out of sight. I don't know what that first shot was like. The second shot was definitely bad. It spun round and I hit it quartering away. It's not going to go very far because it's really sore. But yeah, exciting. But I'm not very happy with my shooting, so yeah, I got it on film so at least we can see. But yeah, at that first shot, there's a whole lot of fur on the ground there, so I think the first one might have just skipped it. I don't know, we'll see. And then Yeah, second one. It's probably just lying down over there somewhere, I think. It was, could see it was really hurt. It wasn't going far, so. Good, but bad. Let's see the outcome. So, a successful night here to start with, but I've probably made the worst shot of my career, and that doesn't feel good, but we've recovered the deer, so that's okay. So basically, I'm thinking maybe I didn't check my level bubble, but it went really, well, not really far, about 2 inches across the left, and it's gone straight through here. That's why there's all that white here, and then smashed out. It's the other way around though, and it smashed out the arm, the leg. So at the time, obviously, I thought the shot looked pretty good. I didn't actually notice all the white here. It ran off, and because it stood there, I was like, I'll put another arrow in it. And I have to look at the footage, but like I released, it felt good, and I think maybe it jumped at the string, and anyway, I ended up like, you know, another bad shot in the back, like. But the saving grace here is that that was enough for us to find the deer, so that's good. So, you know, it's not as nice a hunt as the previous ones this year. Yeah, basically, you know, it all ended up well. I'll show you in a second. The blood trail was crazy from it, and the reason I'm going to show it YouTube is because like it's going to be a good learning experience. It looks like it would have been you know, like a fatal shot or something, but the blood's a bit darker and a bit redder, a little bit more kind of watery too. But it's just a complete kind of, I mean, a blind person could follow the blood trail for it. You know, I'm happy it was a nice successful hunt, but I have a few things I need to think about and do differently next time. But you know, that's hunting sometimes. You can't win them all. I've had absolutely amazing success so far this year, and I mean it continues, but my shot placement's been absolutely money. So this one's kind of a bit of an ego check. It's a humbling moment for me, and I just got to go back and reset all my shooting process and stuff. But yeah, first day down here, fin hunting, awesome setup. The saddle worked good too. So yeah. As mentioned, this part is in purely for educational purposes, and after the season I have had, I am now more convinced than ever that people, including myself, have unrealistic expectations on what to expect from blood trails. Apart from structural integrity and sharpness, the type or brand of broadhead has little to do with the actual blood trail. It comes down to 70% shot placement, 10% shot angle, and 10% if you get a pass through or not. Okay, I have for sure pulled those stats out of thin air, but if we take a look back on my season this year, the best shot I made had 0 blood, even though it was across the top of the heart and it was a clean pass through. All the blood had stayed in the cavity. Then on the flip side, we have this deer here that has been shot twice badly, and anyone could follow this blood trail. To sum everything up, if you're honest with yourself and you know it was a good shot, just because there's no blood trail or hardly any blood, it doesn't mean that it wasn't a good shot. If you cannot find the deer or you are worried, the safest bet is to back out and get a dog on the trail.
Having returned back to Pennsylvania, Kyla and I are just in time for the doe-only early muzzleloader season. We spent some time firing my inline muzzleloader to prepare, and got ready to head out the following evening. Barely 75 yards into the woods, we spotted the unmistakable brown body of a deer just down the hill. I eased over just a few yards to determine if the deer had antlers or not.
Well, it's already been an eventful evening. On our way down in here, we spotted a deer bedded. Kinda can only see the back half of its body. And I was able to scoot over and see that it was in fact a spike, so not a legal deer, regardless, but especially with the muzzleloader. So Kyla's up to bat tonight. We're in a spot that I don't think we've hunted in the last couple of years, and we've continued to see deer after dark up in the cornfield above us. I can only assume they're coming from down in here. Hopefully it's a little cooler tonight. They'll move before dark, and maybe we can get a shot.
In typical PA early muzzleloader season fashion, the second deer we'd see was also a buck. Legal if we had a bow or crossbow, but there is nothing we can do but watch with a muzzleloader in hand.
I think it's the one we saw. It is.
10+ years of hunting this season probably should have taught me that we shouldn't have bothered with the muzzleloader at all. I cannot count how many times I've headed out in an attempt to fill the freezer, only to be greeted by bucks around every corner. I saw the muzzleloader as a great weapon for Kyla to potentially take her first deer with, however, and just hoped a doe would come through as well.
Well, that was the same spike that we saw on the way in. Kind of amazing. He didn't bolt because he looked back and saw us. And he definitely got a good enough look earlier, but definitely a good sign, especially kind of getting into the end of October. Regardless of the fact that we're doe hunting now, that's really good to see a couple of bucks moving long before dark. But hopefully, of all things, I won't say this much, but hopefully a couple without antlers come through next.
Despite the promise of the early deer movement, the evening would come to a close without another sighting.
Well, we're really going for broke today. Here in about 3 hours, the early muzzleloader season in PA is going to be over, so we've got the gun and we've got the bow. It's one of the only seasons in PA you can actually carry both weapons. Muzzleloader is doe only, and obviously for bucks we're going to have to use the bow, so crossing our fingers tonight, maybe something's going to happen. Regardless, hopefully a tag gets punched.
I'm set up in an area where, over the years, I've been fortunate enough to take numerous deer. Generally, I save this location for the rut, as I've had some incredible encounters in that early November window, and I never want to risk spooking deer early in the season. However, with the lack of tags filled, and the buck sightings with Kyla earlier in the week, I thought it just might be worth the risk coming down in here a little early.
seen that adult doe in probably close to a half hour, and I still don't know what happened. She was going pretty much perfect, and then for whatever reason just kind of scooted down to the right, and everything on that side's pretty open, so I've been trying to keep an eye on that. I haven't seen her, and I've still been watching the 2 younger ones. They're still out here in front of me, so I'm not really sure what just happened there, but we still have about 40-45 minutes, so hopefully either she comes back or maybe something else will come through.
Enjoying the Meat Hunters so far? Then be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for tons of other hunting content, and stick around for all the upcoming hunting adventures this year and beyond. Like us on Facebook for regular news updates, and follow us on Instagram to keep up with where we're hunting currently. Now, back to the hunt.
Hopefully either she comes back or maybe something else will come through. Camera light. There's probably a couple of minutes of legal light left, but being tucked into these hemlocks, there's not a whole lot to work with. I still don't know what went on this evening. The doe never came back. Those fawns started getting real cautious and kind of looking around, but they never looked up this way, so I don't know what even got their attention. I did hear something crash kind of like directly behind the camera there, kind of coming down the hill, it sounded like, but no footsteps following that. I have no idea what that was, but maybe related. I do think, despite the fact that no shots were fired tonight, it did kind of speak to the potential this spot has. We had the spike and the 2 young ones like up above us, and then the doe and 2 younger ones down here below. I mean, they were there for an hour and a half or more, so it's a good spot. Just gotta hopefully have things come together in the future.
I'd returned to the stand a few days later, with Kyla behind the camera once again, now fully focused on bow hunting. This promising young buck showed exactly why this stand was hung, walking by well within bow range and perfectly broadside. While not a buck I would take, I can't help but wish the roles were reversed today. If Kyla had the crossbow and I had the camera, this deer would be perfect for her as a first. However, that is not the case, so rather than setting up to send a bolt airborne, we once again watch a great young deer in hopes of seeing him again down the road. Despite the rainy conditions, he sticks around for quite some time, allowing us to observe him from not so far away. I appreciate any opportunity to watch a buck go about his business. Every occasion can be a learning experience, and those occasions are few and far between. Generally only a few weeks out of the year. We'll soak in every moment of his presence on this hunt. I can't resist ranging him as he passes through my second shooting lane still in bow range, once again gathering every little piece of information possible.
That's why we sit out in rainy, cold afternoons at the end of October. If that deer was a year older, he gave us 2 shots. He was in my lane to the left and in the lane directly in front of me. But I wish we could have brought the crossbow today. Could have done something there. That was 20 yards, perfect.
A great encounter with a promising young buck as we move closer and closer to November. As bow hunters, we live for the next few weeks, each and every year. Those daylight encounters with whitetail bucks become frequent, and at any moment, your entire season could change.
There's a buck coming.
I just killed my first buck. Yeah!